Hello everyone, Christopher from GizChina here. Today I want to give you a quick hands-on on the JiaYu G5S. In case you know JiaYu, you know that they did release a stainless steel phone last year under the name G5, and the G5S is actually an upgraded version. It doesn't have the quad-core processor anymore. It now features a MT6592 Octacore processor from MediaTek. So before we have a look at the phone, let's first have a look at the packaging and its contents. So this is the packaging. Nothing has changed here towards the JiaYu G5. It's still the same packaging. You can pull that open to the sides and then see what's inside. And this is a wall charger, a micro USB cable and another wall charger that has been placed inside of there by the shop that has given this phone to me. Else we only have a warranty card below of there, which I don't pull out now. Headphones and protective films are missing, but this is not much of a letdown because the screen is pretty scratch proof, so you won't need any protective film for that. And well, headphones, pretty much everyone has one at home. So that being said, let's switch over to the phone and let's see how it looks. And this is it. It is the black version of the phone, and here you see the status LED, a phone call speaker, sensors for proximity and light, and of course the front camera. And below the screen we have 3 soft touch buttons which are back illuminated and don't show any light bleeding, so that's a plus here. And looking at the sides we see the stainless steel frame for the first time. Here we have 2 buttons for the volume control, and on the lower side a voice microphone, a micro USB port with OTG support, the media speaker. On the right side we have a little switch to pop the rear of the phone off and the on-off button, and on the top we have a 3.5mm headphone jack. On the rear we find the rear camera, a LED flash, a camera microphone and the JiaYu logo as well as the imprint. So the phone is looking pretty nice actually, a bit iPhone-like but still very different. So let's pull off the rear of the phone, which is pretty easy, so that we can have a look at all the slots and the battery. So this is the battery, it's green as we are used to from JiaYu, and here we have the micro SD card slot, a normal sized SIM card slot and a micro SIM card slot, as well as a little sticker that says which model we have here, and it's the 16GB 2GB RAM version. So let's fire up the phone and see how the screen looks, and this is gorgeous, really bright, great colors and a great detail, and viewing angles are also pretty good. And the screen, by the way, is a 4.5-inch panel with 720p resolution, which actually is enough to prevent you from seeing any pixels with the naked eye. So the screen is pretty good, and well, we are used to that from JiaYu because most of their phones have very good screens. So that being said, let's immediately move on to some benchmark tests. First the Antutu benchmark, and here the JiaYu G5S reached 24,923 points, and this is actually not as much as you are used to from other MT6592 phones, and the reason for that is that JiaYu has enabled the power saving mode of the processor, and you actually can't disable it, so that's why it reaches a little bit lower score. But actually this is not much of an issue. The OS is still buttery smooth. You only notice that in a little lower frame rate when playing games. So why have they done it? Probably because of the heat generation of the processor, and another reason could be that they want to enable you to have a longer battery life. So when we are already in the Antutu benchmark, let's have a quick look at the hardware specs. And here you see that we are running Android 4.2.2 in there. The processor is the MT6592. The GPU is a Meili 450MP. Here again the screen resolution of 1280 by 720. We have a 13.3 megapixel camera. We have 2 GB of internal RAM and 16 GB of internal memory, of which around 10 GB are usable. And talking about sensors, there are a lot of sensors in there. We have a direction sensor, a G sensor, acceleration sensor, a light sensor, an e-compass, a proximity sensor, a gyroscope, a linear acceleration sensor, a rotation vector sensor, and that's it. So it's pretty much for a phone in this price range. So let's have a look at another benchmark, this time the Wilemo benchmark, and here the phone reached a score of 2513 points in the browser test, 1580 points in the multi-core test, and 839 points in the metal test. So next I want to give you my take on the reception quality of this phone, as this is probably something very important for most of you. Let's first start with 2G and 3G reception, and this is working very well despite all the metal on the phone. As you can see, we have 3 bars of GSM right now, and if I switch to a 3G connection, this is actually happening pretty fast. And here we also get H+ in no time with again 3 bars, so that's very good. And well, it has a very good 2G and 3G reception quality. What's not so good, however, is the Wi-Fi reception quality. This one could be a bit better. As soon as you're leaving the house, the signal will break off, or if you're in edges of your house where the router is especially far away, but it's still usable. I'm right now above the router in the upper floor of the house, and well, you see I have full Wi-Fi reception here, so it's not bad at all, just not as good as some other phones are. However, regarding Bluetooth, this one is pretty weak. It only gets a range of 8 meters under free view, which isn't that much. Most other phones reach 15 to 20 meters under free view, but well, this shouldn't be a problem if you're using a headset and have the phone in your pocket or something. Something that is not working at all, however, is GPS. I tried it for around 1 hour and I didn't find a single satellite with this phone. Now if you root it and do some of the GPS fix tutorials outside of there, it might work, but what I hear so far, it still has not the best GPS reception quality even then. So that being said, GPS is pretty much unusable with this phone, and if you need GPS, you should probably stay away from this phone. So that being said, let's move over to another important category for most of you, and this is the camera of the phone. Well, the JiaYu G5S has a 13 megapixel rear camera with an aperture of f2.2, and it actually takes pretty good pictures with a good color reproduction and a great depth of field and anything, and also the focus is pretty fast and the shutter time is short. All in all, a pretty good camera. The only downside of it is that it shows a noise all the time. This is not really disturbing when you have good lighting conditions, but if it gets darker, the noise gets higher and it pretty much makes the pictures unusable then. Luckily, the LED flash is pretty good, so you can light up mid-sized rooms easily and close-ups will become perfect even in the dark. That being said, the video quality of the camera is also pretty good. It creates videos with a similar quality to the pictures with 1080p resolution, and they are pretty smooth and show a decent audio quality. The front camera, however, only has 3 megapixels. Now this is not much, and you can't expect a lot from the camera, yet it's still usable for video chats and emergency selfies, but nothing more. Now let's talk about battery, and the JiaYu G5S comes with a 2000 mAh battery. Now you might know that most MT6592 phones with such a low battery capacity do not reach a good battery life, but well, the JiaYu G5S actually does. The battery lasts for around 1.5 days if you use the phone normally. If you do intensive usage or some games on the go, you might reach 1 day or close to a day. So the battery life is not bad actually for a MT6592 phone, but well, not as good as with some high-end phones like the Oppo Find 7 or something similar. And the battery is, by the way, charged within around 1 hour, so that's pretty acceptable and pretty quick. So my take on the JiaYu G5S, it's a nice phone, it has a nice screen, it has an amazing build quality, it's very solid thanks to all the stainless steel, even the chassis is made from stainless steel, and well, it has a good 2G and 3G reception quality, and the camera is pretty usable, and the performance is also pretty good, even though a bit limited because of the enabled power saving mode of the processor. So that being said, it really depends on what you need, if this is a good phone for you. If you can live without GPS and the limited performance because of the power saving mode, this could be the right phone for you, especially because it's not that huge. At 4.5 inches it will fit in pretty much every pocket, so if you need a small phone you should definitely have a closer look at that. The JiaYu G5S is currently priced around $240 on Chinese shops, so you should have a look around if you find it somewhere cheaper or anything. So that being said, I'm really impressed with this phone, except the bad GPS reception quality, and I for myself really like it, especially for its design and the nice screen. This is Christopher from GizChina, over and out.